So we're going to continue now on to section 9, and in section 9 we're going to be looking at the order of operations. These things could be all mixed up in an expression, and or not, and they can all be put together. So how do we evaluate these things? In what order? Start by the nots. They have the highest priority, then the ands, and then finally at the very end do the ors. It's kind of like if you have multiply and divide, do those first, and then subtract and add, do those last. Same basic idea. So we're going to look at the first example, Boolean 1, okay, and we have false, or, not, true, and true. Wow, that's quite a mouthful. So let's go ahead and copy all of that and evaluate it piece by piece. Okay, so the highest operator there is the not. So whatever's beside the not is going to be inverted. So currently we have a true. Let's make that a false. Okay, and that gets rid of the not for us. And then after that, we have an and or an or. So the next one should be and. So false and true, well, we know both have to be true with the and, so that one becomes false. And then at the very end, false or false, at least one of them has to be true with the or operator, so the net result is going to be false. So we can say false for the first one. Let's go on to the second example, and we'll follow pretty much the same rules for evaluation. So look for the not. The not is always done first. Let me just verify that we are, in fact, it looks exactly, nope, it's not the same one, it is different. So identify the not. Not has to be done true, or has to be done first. So not true becomes false. And then look for the and. So we have an and right there, so work that one out. So false and false, well, I guess that gives us false. And now we're left with the or. With the or, at least one has to be true. And we can see here the right side is true, so the net result is true. So we'll put true in there, and we'll just keep going down like this. Next one. Now, we have brackets, okay? So it's actually the case where the brackets have to be done before the not. So wherever we see brackets, that will override everything, including the not. So I'm not even going to touch that not until I figure out everything inside the brackets. So inside the brackets, we have false or false. We know with the or operator, the left side has to be true, or the right side has to be true. We don't have either, so the whole thing, the whole or operator, is going to evaluate to false. Now we can consider that not operator. So not false becomes true, and then we have an and operator, true and true. The left side is true, the right side is true. It has to be true. So we're just going to keep going like this. And now with the fourth one, so find the not, and we have a bunch of nots here. I see not true, and then I see not true over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that not true. So with two nots, they cancel out each other. So these nots, not, are gone. Now let's go to the other not. This not over here, not true, must be false. So once the nots are out of the way, you can look at the ands, false and false. Well, I guess we have no choice with that. Has to be false. And then finally with the or operator, we need one or the other to be true. And indeed, the left side is true, so the final result for this is going to be true. And we'll go to the last example here. Again, whenever you see brackets, do the brackets first, even before the not operator, you have to calculate the brackets. So here's a set of brackets, and we see there's an AND operator, so true and true. Well, I guess there's no way around this. It has to be true. Now let's get the NOT operator. There's our NOT operator. Not true, sounds like false. False or false, we have no choice. It is false. So we're going to put false in there, and we're going to run it to see our result. And indeed, it all worked out correctly. So at any point, please let me know if you have any difficulty with these concepts, and we'll do a video conference together. All right, so in this one, it looks like we're doing some fancy mixing and matching, like they say. So make me false, and I think the first one they're doing it for you. So Boolean 1 equals 2 is less than or equal to 2. That's true. But then we have an AND operator, alpha and Bravo. 2 strings are supposed to be equal, but that's false. And when you have an AND operator, the left side and the right side have to be true, so the whole thing evaluates to false. So that is definitely false. So I'm going to use the AND and OR operators here, and I think with the instructions, what does it say? We have to use AND, OR, and NOT at least one time in these 5 examples. So let's go ahead and start with one of them. So we'll do 5 is greater than 6, okay? And we want to make this true. Well, there's no way 5 can be greater than 6. Okay, 5 is less than 6. All right, so we'll start with an AND operator here. All right, so we need the left side and the right side to be true. So we have that. And for fun, let's do a string here. So mouse, and then we'll use an equal here, mouse. So I'm pretty sure the left side and the right side will both evaluate to true to give us true. Now we need to evaluate to false. So let's do an OR operator. So let's make the left side false. 5 is greater than 6. That is definitely false. And we'll put an OR in there. And finally, let's make the other one false. We'll use the same example, same type of example we used before. 2 strings. So string 1 equals string 2. Notice the wrapping, how it automatically went to the next line. Don't be bothered by that. What you can do is you can just pull your editor. You can resize your editor in a way where you're comfortable to work. So the left side has to be false and the right side has to be false. So we have no choice here. This is going to evaluate to false. Now let's make the next one true. And it says here that we need to use at least one of them. We have to use all of them, the AND, or NOT. So let's start with 5 is greater than 6. That's going to be false. But if I put a NOT before it, then it becomes true. And then we have one last example. You could just be creative and put anything you'd like in there to give you a true result. So we'll say test, we'll say 5 is greater than or equal to 6. And we use the AND operator one more time. Actually, I have an idea. We're going to make this fun. So we'll say 5 is greater than 6, or we'll use the OR operator again. 6 is greater than 5. So one or the other has to be true, and clearly the statement on the right is true. So let's run that, and it looks like we made a mistake with Boolean 2. So let's go back to Boolean 2 and see what we did. So we must evaluate this to true. So 5 is less than 6, and mouse equals mouse. Misspelt. I put the letter N in there. So let's get rid of the N and let's run it again. And this time everything evaluates correctly. And then in this example here, we're going to take a look at how conditions or the if statement works in the next video.